Hello. I just wanted to list this item because it caused my life to be a living hell. Let me first start off by letting everyone know that I do not believe in one bit in the supernatural, voodoo, witchcraft, or religion for that matter. And although I cannot explain that what's been happening in my home, I would like to just assume to get rid of this thing nevertheless. I don't know much about this doll. My wife and I went to a garage sale a few months ago when our 3-year-old daughter pulled it out of a chest of strange looking items. The doll looked harmless enough, but when I examined the back of it, I noticed strange symbols all over it. I asked the lady who was running the garage sale what the symbol meant, if anything at all. I had a hard time understanding her as she let me know that she is from Iran. The best I could tell is that the doll was handmade in Iran and that the symbols were merely some sort of Iranian legend. My wife felt a bit weary about letting our daughter having a doll with such strange markings on it and what others would think of it if they saw it as well. I told her that it's just a doll and offered to purchase it. She replied that she didn't know how the doll got into the chest and that it wasn't for sale. But when I told my daughter that, she couldn't have it. She began to cry hysterically. We headed back to the car to find the lady running up behind us. She handed my daughter the doll. I was thrilled, as was my daughter. But when I tried to ask her how much I owed her, she replied, "No charge. You just go quick." I thanked her and we got into our car and we were about to leave when a man came blazing out of a garage and stood behind the car, preventing me from leaving. I had to get out and ask him to move. He said he would just as soon as he got back what was not rightfully sold. I asked him if he meant the doll. He told me yes, and that he wanted it back. He exclaimed that it wasn't a kid's toy and that I had no idea what I had. I apologized and tried to give the doll back for my daughter, but she wouldn't hear of it. Pulling and grabbing the doll, soon after the lady running from the garage sale came to the car and told us to just take the doll, but the other gentleman refused, saying that she had no right to sell it to us, and then just started arguing with her with another language, probably in Arabic. I couldn't believe how infuriating the gentleman was getting. He was outright yelling at her and told her to get inside and that he would take care of this. She refused and told us to leave quickly, and I told the man that I did not deserve the doll. What the hell that meant. Finally, he barked at me yelling, "Give me the doll now." I told him that I had no problem giving him back the doll and to calm down, and that is just needed to get it for my daughter. The man soon seemed to be a bit out of breath, and his wife, or whoever she was, told him that he needed to take his medication. He told me not to leave and that he's blared into the house. Needless to say, I didn't want to stick around. So as soon as the last time I tried to retrieve the doll from my daughter, but she was having a fit, the lady told me, "Please just go. Take the doll, take good care of it. Now please go before he returns." I took the doll and sped away, wondering what the heck had just happened and why he wanted the doll so badly. Now, all this happened a few months ago, and this is how I remember it all in the best of my knowledge. But what about what come the next 3 months or so would make me think entirely different about why that man wanted the doll back so badly. My daughter slept with the doll every night, and even named it Dolly, when after only a week, a few strange things began to happen. First, our daughter began to waking up in the middle of the night, screaming because of a bad dream. As parents, we took this as a normal because of the fact that all kids have nightmares in the middle of the night. The problem was that she went from having maybe one every week to one every night to severe each night. We began to let her sleep with us at night, but then realized that when we all started having weird dreams, scary dreams. Now, like I said, I don't believe in this mumbo jumbo stuff. And I believe to this day that these dreams are psychologically induced because of all that had happened. But when my daughter started explaining her nightmares to my wife, they were extremely similar to her own nightmares. Dreams of giant, hideous worms coming up from the ground and pulling their victims, my wife and daughter, into the earth. My wife explained her nightmares to me, and soon after, I began to have them as well. I see this as like seeing a movie and dreaming of it soon after. Nevertheless, the nightmares got so vivid that both my wife and daughter would wake up screaming. At this point, we still didn't consider the doll of having anything to do with our dilemma. It was the month that come that had us all thinking differently. My daughter started waking us up and telling that Dolly wants to be free. I told her that I didn't understand, and she told me that Dolly had told her that she wanted to be free. I just dismissed it as pretending things that children do and told her to try to get some sleep. One morning we woke up and the doll couldn't be found. We searched everywhere to finally find the doll in my long coat jacket pocket that I never wear, hanging in my closet. I asked my daughter why she put it there, and she swore up and down that she didn't. I asked my wife if she put it in there, and she declined doing it as well. Honestly, I don't know how it got there, but I gave it back to my daughter and she was happy again. My daughter got to the point where she wouldn't go anywhere without Dolly. She always had her under her arm or in her hand, or talked to her constantly for hours. It was like she was having a fully blown conversation with a real person. One night at a dinner table, I took Dolly away from her and told her that she could have her back after she ate her dinner because she wasn't eating, just talking to the stupid doll. She cried so violently that she ended up throwing up all over the table. At this point, I had enough. I told my wife that it was time to just throw away the doll and that our daughter had grown dependent on Dolly. She argued the fact that it would be like throwing my big screen television away and that she really loved Dolly. I disagree. I took the doll and threw it in the trash one night while my daughter was sleeping. My wife caught me and ended up retrieving the thing from the garbage. We argued all night. Finally, just recently, my daughter woke up in the middle of the night and told my wife and I that Dolly wanted my daughter to take her for a walk in the middle of the night and to open the front door and leave the house. It was 3 a.m., people. What the hell? This went for another week. At least then, as if the nightmares weren't enough, my daughter woke us up, claiming that Dolly had walked across the bed by herself from one end to the next. She supposedly told my daughter that she was magic and that one day my daughter would see who Dolly really was. At this time, my wife was having dreams of huge worms and slimy creatures. This was all too much. I am too convinced that all of this is still caused by either lack of sleep or some sort of delusional state of mind. Nevertheless, in my opinion, a 3-year-old shouldn't be talking this way, make believe or not. Now, I don't know what to do with this thing. My wife said that she won't let me throw it away and that it could be proven to be a family heirloom. I told her that if she's going to let me throw it away, then I'll just sell it on eBay. She was furious. Anyhow, my wife and daughter went to spend some time with her mother, so I hid the damn thing in my safe and claimed that it couldn't find it before they left. My daughter was hysterical. I'm using this as my chance to finally and ultimately get rid of the thing. After looking over an hour, my daughter looked me straight in my eyes and said, "Daddy, I know you have it, and Dolly knows too. She's going to make sure the big worm comes at night." Will someone please tell me how the heck a 3-year-old talks like this? Anyway, here's your chance, people. I'm selling this thing because it's beginning to ruin my marriage and my life. I don't know if this thing can stop the nightmares or not, but I do know that it's best for my daughter to finally get rid of the thing. I've taken pictures of front of the doll, which looks nice and sweet, and in the back of the doll, which have markings on which I have no idea of their origins or what the heck they mean. If someone could tell me what these markings mean and have any clue whatsoever, please email me and tell me now. I am a bit curious if they mean anything at all, or if it's just a bunch of bunk. I don't know what was used to write these markings on the doll, but it looks like some sort of ink or iodine or something. Who knows? Anyway, I have included close-up pics of the area of the markings for my view pleasure. I'll even include the shipping. I'll start the bid at $5. Again, if anyone knows what these symbols mean, I would be much appreciated for the info. Thanks for bidding and finally taking this mess out of my life. From Spriddle15@hotmail.com. Was checking out your site, which is great, and wanted to pass along some information about the eBay haunted doll story. The symbols on the back of the doll's head are from Necronomicon. The top symbol is a seal of Marduk, the Lord of Lords, Masters of Magicians. His name should not be called except for what no other will do, and it is the most terrible responsibility to do so. The word of his calling is Duga. The bottom four symbols of the second line of the next is Urilai, the Book of the Worm. It contains the formulae by which the weaker and the havoc perform their rites. These are the prayers of the ensnarers, the liars in wait, the blind fiends of chaos, the most ancient evil. Just wanted to pass this along, though the reader of the or gentleman who posted this original message might like to know what he was looking at. All the quoted materials have been taken from the Necronomicon and can probably find it at any bookstore if interested. I found mine in Borders. Keep up the interesting site. Oh, and if possible, mail me back and let me know.